Order. This is a special hearing. I want to make a distinction. This is not a general meeting of the Board of Elections. This is a hearing. We're proceeding under 163-86 of the North Carolina General Statutes for a very specific and limited purpose. I want to welcome you all. Thank you for coming. The purpose of the hearing, as was in the notice of hearing, and I'll just reference that, is to conduct a hearing for the purpose of considering challenged voter registrations. Those challenges were made at a preliminary hearing, and of the, I think it was 182 or so that were brought, we have, I think, 95 which have proceeded to full hearing. There's a statutory process which we will be following. We are going to walk through the statute. Once that is done, the board does not take a vote on this. The statute speaks for itself. The statute says that in the event of, the procedures, then the board shall do this or that. And that's what we're going to do. So this isn't a time for public comment, airing of opinions, or anything like that. This is a hearing under 163-86, okay? And thank you for coming. I appreciate it. One of the things, let me mention to try to give a little clarification as to what we are doing today. The challenges that were brought under Statute 163, I'm going to reference it for you, 85, there are a number of bases for bringing a challenge. The only base that was brought in this, for these voters was that the person is not a resident of the precinct in which the person is registered. That's the only issue we're looking at with these challenges. So as to any voter that is being challenged, that's the issue that these move forward on. Now, that being said, also, let me mention that this is not depriving necessarily a voter of their right to vote. This is saying a challenge that you are not in the precinct, so that can be corrected. We also have a member of the Board of Elections staff over here that can tend to that. So we are trying to figure out, of these challenges that have moved forward, whether the person is in the precinct at the address and who they claim to be, and whether that the registration needs to be canceled or corrected. That is the purpose of the hearing. Now, is anyone here tonight as a challenged voter that received a letter from the Board of Election that their registration is being challenged? All right.
Let the record show no one raised their hand or spoke up.
What we will do then is we're going to go through and essentially call the roll of the challenged voters. And we have, I believe, like I said, 95. We have them in alphabetical order. And we are going to call the roll on those. Mr. Secretary, would you mind calling those for us?
Michael Thomas Agnew, Claire Kane Alderman, Christine Elaine Alt, Melissa Maria Summer Balkin, Tanya Jordan Barrow, Joseph Derek Baines, Teresa Fleagold Boyd, Deborah Elizabeth Boyles, Alfred Douglas Bullard, Sean Richard Burke, Parrish Dwayne Burton, Charles Arthur Carulus, Hugh Edward Chapelier Jr., Betsy K. Clark, Kyle Heath Clark, Unav Cole, Gregory Grant Dale, Crystal Sue Daniels, Yvonne Robin Daniels, Elaine Kathleen Davidson, Damian Gardner Diaz, Corrine Ashley Diggins, Charles Edward Dillard, Stephen Julia Duncan, Heather Nicole Ellis, Charles Andrew Enderly, Jeanette Foster, Stephen Carl Funk, Juan Pierre Gonzalez, Lisa Lynette Greenlee, Affair Natasha Hagens, Brianna Clyde Haley, Natalie Nicole Hall, Donald Franklin Harper, William Robert Hoffman Jr., Betty Wilson Holcomb, Lisa Henson Holcomb, Pearl Lee Howell, Christopher George Huprich, David Allen Houston, Teresa Lee Holloman, Matthew Lewis Jacobs, Colleen Johnson, Bobby Jean Johnson Jr., Shannon Lee Jones, Mrs. Judith last name only, Kelly Sue Kesson, Ryan John Knowles, John Crone, Teresa Nadine Lampkin, Jean Paul Liebrick III, Evan Light, Sandra Russo Linker, Julia Sneed Little, Kelly Aria Lizano, Michael Wayne Lofton, Kendrick Bernie Kent Long, Tremlin Allen Lucas, Christina Dawn Manion, Seth Michael Matthews, John Clinton Matthews III, Richard Clyde McAdoo, Andrew Myers McLeod, Megan Colleen Montgomery, Andrew Young Moses, Jeremy Paul Mowry, Charles Esperanza Murdaugh Jr., Gretchen Marie Orr, Michael James Palmer, Cynthia McCormick Parrish, Alice Louise Parton, William Randall Pippin, John Lewis Probst, Bradley Joseph Radford, Marthelene Jean Riker, Douglas William Sales Jr., Philip Sellers, William Jeffrey Smith, Peter Zachary Smith, Deborah Gray Smith, Grace Byers Smith, Donna Sales Sonneville, Carl Joseph Southgate, Ashley Jane Sowers, Joanne Grove Swindle, Anthony LaQuince Thompson, Alfred Torres, Jerry Douglas Trantham, Cynthia Bethany Rogers Bacon, James Christopher Ware, Phyllis Dietz Watson, James Joseph White, Leela Whitfield, Tamara J. Williams, Hugh Lamar Williamson.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8 minutes after 6. Board is going to wait a few minutes to make sure that people have opportunity to get here in case they had car trouble or delayed in traffic. We will then call again for challenged voters that may be present. We will then call the roll again. If no one answers, then we will proceed to take action accordingly. Or if they do answer, we'll proceed to take action accordingly. So we're going to be at a recess for a few minutes. If you would like to get up, go to the restroom, stretch your legs.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, would you explain what the action would be after we call the roll the next time?
Well, under the statutes, 163-90.2, when challenge is sustained for any cause listed under 163-85C, the board shall cancel or correct the voter registration of the voter. All right? So, in this case, a challenge has been made. These have moved forward. If the voter does not appear to answer the challenge, and the challenge will be sustained, there is then a 10-day appeal period. The board will not take any action for at least 10 days. We'll probably give another 5 days just for service and whatnot in case, because the appeals process is the challenged voter may appeal to the Superior Court of the county. So they would have to file an action within 10 days with the Buncombe County Superior Court. So beyond the 10 days, I think it would be prudent to also allow for a period of service of process for us to get whatever challenge may have been filed with the Superior Court. I think probably 15 days would be about adequate, or perhaps 20. After that point, if no challenge or no appeal has been taken, then and again, the statute is in affirmative language. The board does not have to vote on this. It says the board shall cancel or correct. So those registrations would be canceled. Now, if a voter later appears and realizes that his cancellation or his registration has been canceled, the voter may go to the Board of Elections and register, okay? So that would be the process. If a voter does appear tonight, then there is a process which we would also go through, set out by statute, where they would take oaths concerning who they are, their location, qualifications to vote. If they're unable to take the oath as given for some reason, then they have a chance either to correct the registration or, again, they would be canceled. All right? So that is the process. And it's 10 after. Let's give about 5 minutes, and then we're going to call again and go through the roll again, and we will proceed from there. The challenges were originally brought. No, sir. This is North Carolina General Statute. And the challenges were originally brought under 163-85. The preliminary hearing was conducted pursuant to that statute, and also 163-86, which is what we're proceeding under tonight as well. Yes, sir.
Hey, Lucy, I can say this. Jay right here from us that we not including, but I don't think we should make the motion.
The meeting was duly posted and for 6 o'clock. We're 15 after now. Is there anyone here, anyone present tonight that is here in response to a voter challenge? Anyone here that is a voter whose registration has been challenged? All right, we're going to call the roll again of the voters whose registration has been challenged. If you hear your name, please speak up, stand up, or raise your hand so that we can see you and recognize you. Please listen for the names. Mr. Secretary?
Michael Thomas Agnew, Claire Kane Alderman, Christine Elaine Alt, Melissa Marie Summer Balkin, Tanya Jordan Barrow, Joseph Derek Baines, Teresa Flegel Boyd, Deborah Elizabeth Boyles, Alfred Douglas Bullard, Sean Richard Burke, Parrish Dwayne Burton, Charles Arthur Carlos, Hugh Edward Chapelier Jr., Betsy K. Clark, Kyle Heath Clark, Unav Cole, Gregory Grant Dale, Crystal Sue Daniels, Yvonne Robin Daniels, Elaine Kathleen Davidson, Damian Gardner Diaz, Corrine Ashley Diggins, Charles Edward Dillard, Stephen Julier Duncan, Heather Nicole Ellis, Charles Andrew Enderly, Jeanette Foster, Stephen Carl Funk, Juan Pierre Gonzalez, Lisa Lynette Greenlee, Allfair Natasha Haggins, Brianna Clyde Haley, Natalie Nicole Hall, Donald Franklin Harper, William Robert Hoffman Jr., Betty Wilson Holcomb, Lisa Henson Holcomb, Pearl Lee Howell, Christopher George Hopra, David Allen Hudson, Teresa Lee Holloman, Matthew Lewis Jacobs, Colleen Johnson, Bobby Jean Johnson Jr., Shannon Lee Jones, Judith, Kelly Sue Keeson, Ryan John Knowles, John Crone, Teresa Natalie Lampkin, Jean Paul Liebrick III, Evan Light, Sandra Russo Linker, Julia Sneed Little, Kelly Aria Lozano, Michael Wayne Lofton, Kendrick Bernie Long, Tremaine Allen Lucas, Christina Dawn Mannion, Seth Michael Matthews, John Clinton Matthews III, Richard Clyde McAdoo, Andrew Myers McLeod, Megan Colleen Montgomery, Andrew Young Moses, Jeremy Paul Mowry, Charles Esperanzo Murdahl Jr., Gretchen Marie Orr, Michael James Palmer, Cynthia McCormick Parrish, Alice Louise Parton, William Randall Pippin, John Lewis Probst, Bradley Joseph Radford, Marthaline Jean Riker, Douglas William Sales Jr., Philip Sellers, William Jeffrey Smith, Peter Zachary Smith, Deborah Gray Smith, Grace Byers Smith, Donna Sales Sonneville, Carl Joseph Southgate, Ashley Jane Sowers, Joanne Grebe Swindle, Anthony LaQuish Thompson, Alfred Torres, Jerry Douglas Trantham, Cynthia Bethany Rogers Bacon, James Christopher Ware, Phyllis Dietz Watson, James Joseph White, Lilia Whitfield, Tamara Janae Williams, Hugh Lamar Williamson.
All right, I saw at least one person come in while we were calling the roll. Has anyone arrived during the call of the roll that is here in response to a voter challenge? All right. No one coming in response to the challenge pursuant to 163-90.2. Challenges will be sustained. The board shall cancel the voter registration of the voter. The board instructs the staff to note these names for tonight and the registration for future cancellation. There will be a 10-day period for appeal. That's under 163-90.2, subsection D. We will also, because the appeal requires a filing with the Superior Court of Buncombe County, we'll also wait appropriate time before entering the cancellation for service after the 10-day period of appeal. Chair would entertain a period of time beyond 10 days appeal period, which the board thinks would be appropriate for
5.
setting. 5. Ms. Lucy, any thoughts on that? It'd be a 15-day period before cancellation would be entered.
Statute says 10, you're being generous to give
Well,
them 5
10 is
more.
for the appeal period, but also, anytime you have filings, there's also a period of service. So we're allowing for a period of service to run where we would get notice of the appeal.
Are you talking 10 business days or 10 days?
The statute simply says 10
10
days.
days.
We'll say 15 days then.
10 days is on a Sunday.
Well, we give them 15 days beyond, okay? Cancellation will be entered.
Okay, when do we start this?
The 10, be totally tomorrow,
Okay.
all right? Okay,
Move to adjourn.
that is the only business of the board tonight. Meeting's adjourned.